Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this semi-final, the second semi-final of today. US Challenger Series number 7 will be getting underway. In just a second, we have got Mouse versus Dongsquad. First things first, though, I am joined by Forecourt Jester, and we are getting some bans in, actually, immediately. The Champions Select is already underway. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. It's just mid-afternoon here across the pond, but, hanging out with Mr. Spuddington, the Kaostv crew, and good old favorites Mousesports. They've been around for a while, and with their new roster, I mean, that was a pretty convincing game one.
Yeah, they really took that home. Was that one team fight where they had a bit of a wobbly, but seemed to work pretty well the rest of the time. And we are seeing some significant bans out as a result. We've got that Karthus being knocked out. We just don't want to deal with Karthus or Elise. Twisted Fate is just the kind of mandatory ban. And yeah, Nautilus also knocked out because that was apparently something that was very scary in the hands of Amazing. Gonna be interesting to see. We've got the Jace insta-lock though.
Not really too much of a surprise. There's a few different insta-locks out there that you could probably go for. Thresh, however, not getting banned out this round. Nunu and Nautilus and Jarvan, like, those are three very kind of high-tier junglers at this day. Like, Nautilus, Jarvan have those gap closers, the CC available to them. Nunu, of course, still can excel at his counter jungling, the Blood Boil for the ADC late game, and Absolute Zero for, again, more CC. So I'm not really too surprised to see them banned out. Karthus and Elise, though, like, yeah, very well deserved.
Yeah, just purely targeted bans. We are seeing Amazing hovering over Lee Sin. He is a renowned Lee Sin player. I've got to say, though, I still, even in incredibly good hands, even in the hands of, Insect Diamond procs, even in the hands of those guys, I just don't like Lee Sin that much. I mean, and in fact, they swap it up for Volibear at the last second. I find that Lee Sin, yes, he is a strong early game, but it's so hard to snowball it hard enough to make it worth it considering how weak he is late game. Maybe that's just my opinion, but we have got that lock in and we are seeing the next two picks not actually being looked at all. They're completely blank at the moment.
Lee Sin has a tendency of kind of getting underestimated a bit, just like Sejuani. Like when Sejuani first came out and people were trying, it's like, oh, well, she's not really that good, but in reality, she is absolutely amazing. And there are situations where Lee Sin can kind of perform to that standard as well. Not going to say that this is like necessarily one of them, but as a pick, I mean, we've seen Froggen just kind of show that you can play him anywhere, and you've seen the Korean show you can play him anywhere at this point. So it's not necessarily a terrible, but Volibear jungle, very strong as well. Good gap closer in terms of that as well. With his passive, he can be a bit more safer in the jungle. You don't really necessarily see him countering, but he's definitely a very solid pick for initiation.
Yeah, Bear is just kind of a very general jungler. Does a good job at pretty much everything. We do have that Zyra support lock-in along with the Varus, so a very defensive CC heavy setup, and that's going to work well with Jace, who is going to be also playing that defensive game, playing the poke with the shock blasts. Good solid setup thus far from Mouse, and what they're up against is going to be a lot more initiation based. They've got that Malphite lock-in, got that Bear already as mentioned, and they've got that Thresh. So you're going to see things like the Lantern being thrown back for the Malphite or the Bear, and then they will just go hard. Question is whether they can really cope with Zyra, who will obviously strangle Thorns if Malphite manages to get on them, which will make his follow-up a lot harder to do, and can obviously root the Volibear when he goes for it.
Taking a Zyra in this situation is very similar to taking Janna. You do it for the counter initiation, so you can get off those slows, the roots, the Strangle Thorns is absolutely amazing for both of it defenses as well as an offensive utility. So really well picked right there from Mouse. Now Varus, early game can do an extreme amount of damage, and if he can get rolling, it's really hard to stop that snowball. And Hecarim jungle, we see a lot of Hecarim, at least here on my side of the pond, and he's almost like a permaban in some of the lower leagues because he's just absolutely amazing in that jungle. I think that's, again, just another great pickup there from Mouse.
I gotta say though, my problem with Hecarim currently is his early game clear is a bit iffy. It's not, it's not awful. It's not release Sejuani where you would be in the season 2 jungle, which was like easy mode for clearing and still would get wrecked by the jungle. But Hecarim, he has a very, very strong late game. I mean, he transitions into quite a high damage, very tanky bruiser with good initiation. But I just have this slight issue with him being, very, very squishy early on. Still, we will be seeing that block in, and it does look like Mouse are running very much a poke disengage composition. Their only real source of initiation is going to be that Hecarim who will jump in. We do have Kassadin in that mid lane.
Ooh, Kassadin mid. It's always a Saint Vicious joke to go Kassadin jungle, but I highly doubt that this round. But Kassadin, the thing I see now between these two teams, if they do lock that in, it does look like it is actually locked in, is who can climb over the front line of each other. I mean, Malphite, Unstoppable Force gets into the back line, getting all fours, the Thunder run, from Volibear, he can just kind of rush right by you. And now Kassadin with the Void, he can just jump right over that front line. But at the same time, we also have the Stranglethorns for initiation, defensive initiation. We got the Nightmares. I'm trying to remember the name of it for Hecarim's ultimate. He can also just kind of hop right into the back. So really, whoever can protect their carries this round will probably have a better advantage in the team fights.
Yeah, but we do have the potential for Lego My Ego on that Kassadin to play a very split push orientated style. He's running the teleport Kassadin, so that's a very, very scary proposition. But we'll be moving into a quick commercial break while we wait for the delay timer to tick down, so we'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Drowning slowly, I'll carry you 1,000 miles and won't let you be lonely. I'll take you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are actually potentially going to be seeing a level 1 fight, so I may cut this short, but this is EUS Challenger LOL. This is going to be the 7th Challenger series in total. There are pings coming down. This is the semi-final game between Mouse and Dongsquad. They are here, and the ward goes down, gets destroyed, but they have been spotted out there. So, Forecourt Jester, who is with me, by the way, how do you think this is going to go down?
Well, we had a bazillion pings on that bush. I think the word was just to confirm that there was somebody actually in there and they weren't all crazy. But with that invade kind of defeated, I mean, we might throw out a few more wards. I wouldn't expect to see either team to go into each other. Hecarim kind of does need his blue if he wants to stay in the jungle for a bit longer. It's very mana intensive a little early on. And as you said, he's a bit weaker in terms of that early game, but after he gets a few levels, it'll just kind of even out. Bottom lane is also just hanging out down here as well. It does not look like any kind of lane swaps, so we're just going to go back and forth, get a whole bunch of minion kills in the jungle, and start off the laning phase.
Yeah, gonna be that Caitlyn Thresh picking up wolves, so gonna be staying relatively equal on XP. We've got Fusharp taking out that golem in the bottom lane. We've got the roots coming down. We've got everything setting up as you would expect, except that Kikis is actually in the enemy jungle, being very, very ballsy here. He doesn't appear to be caring that there could be a slow that would come down on him. I guess he's just going to continue to play Disruption here. Let's put down a ward. Glucose gets shot. Glucose gets shot again. Amazing gets shot. But the slow has come down on him, and he's just not afraid of them. They haven't got the damage to take out Kikis, so he is actually really, really ruining their day here. And it's not costing him anything to do so. Well, I mean, the creeps are going to be in the lane, but Amazing going low. He's probably going to have to use his passive. Kikis gets aggressive. He's trying to get this red buff to reset, and Amazing doesn't want to let him do it, but he's dragged it around the back. Glucose and Amazing want this. Surely they can smite it. Surely, there we go. Amazing picks it up. Kikis going to lane, but Glucose has lost half his mana and a lot of health too.
That was surprisingly effective coming out of Kikis, but looking at that is like, okay, I'm ranged, I'm Jace, I have a long range poke, I have a hammer if I need to, and at the same time I have movement speed that comes from that hammer swap. You have absolutely no poke, so I'm going to be a thorn in your side, and wow, what a thorn he was. That is going to really hurt Amazing, because he's still level 1 because of all that.
Yeah, level 1, no smite. We'll probably head to Wolves and then Blue. But it's not going to be a quick take. It's going to slow down his first jungle clear. And it didn't even cost Kikis anything, because he actually got to lane before Glucose. And that set him up well for this setup. He is... oh wow, Moops, are you really that much of an... he's actually checking out the blue buff here. Going to be putting down the ward. They're going to know when Amazing goes for that, and Amazing will have his smite up relatively shortly, but he could get poked down. Hecarim is in the jungle, level 3. The ward has gone across, but that Banana Brush ward spots out CyrusQ. Does look like Amazing will be able to get to his blue buff so long as CyrusQ doesn't actually catch him out and return around. Wouldn't expect that to happen though. He's just going to go back to farming raids.
So knowing the duration of wards and that there was a ward in this bush, yeah, I don't really think that's the blue steel was going to come down, because we did have everyone. Yep.
There was a hook in bottom lane, and Pose is getting aggressive. AOD is now actually going to be flashing out, and the piercing arrow picks that kill up. So continue with your thought, Forecourt.
I didn't even catch that. I think, yeah, I was actually 2 seconds behind live, so I do apologize. But with the ward there, I didn't think the blue was going to actually happen. But if Hecarim had stuck around and Moops had actually, stuck around and they took away that blue, then it's just absolute destruction, and Volibear would have been absolutely useless for a bit. But he's going to try to change that right here. As he comes in, Moops from the back, Leg of My Ego here as well, but we got Syracuse, doesn't matter. Moops takes down Leg of My Ego, and that's going to be the trade-off. Volibear is actually going to get that kill, but I'm not too sure he's going to get out of this one. He does have a passive, however, so that will ensure his livelihood for now. Both of our junglers do got red and blue, but that should be safe enough to not warrant a tower dive. And all of a sudden, Volibear makes up all that lost time with a kill.
Yeah, that's going to set him up to be pretty much where he was, where you would expect him to be normally. That being said, both the mid laners are going to lose out a little bit here. Lux did pick up the kill though, so she will be ahead of Kassadin, but Kassadin is at least going to be equal on XP, so he's not going to have to worry about being bullied out too hard at this stage. Should be able to hit level 6 just fine, and that's when he's going to start hitting his kind of power play time, when he's going to start being a real pain, jumping around the map, jumping to other lanes. and there was a fight in bottom, which I missed because I'm an idiot. Tucci taking a lot of damage. CyrusQ is on him, has popped that barrier. He's going to be able to put a little bit of distance, but the red buff is enough, along with the Spirit of Dread. That picks up that kill very cleanly. Nicely played.
It was just kind of a bad situation for Sharp to be down there, and they didn't actually have a ward for the bottom, so yeah, Hecarim was able to just come down there and get that counter. But, you know, Pose is still going to be in this lane. A little bit of pressure at the top. Glucose is going to have to head on back. He's not looking so healthy. Kikis, because of, again, that thorn in the side mentality, it has put Glucose at a bit of a disadvantage. Kikis should be able to hit almost, I think he might actually hit 6 in the next creep wave, which will put him 2 levels ahead of Glucose. Amazing is now up here as well, but again, he's also now behind. I don't think they could actually take on Jace as is, and he's not going to give him the chance anyways.
No, he's just going to back off. We'll probably pick up his tier now. Going to be starting to try and bully Glucose around. Glucose in turn has got that Doran's shield, which will make him a little bit harder to push around. It's a super efficient item. We are seeing Lego My Ego in the mid lane. Hecarim is behind him, stealing the race. Could go for the gank afterwards. But level 6 has been hit. That means Moops is a lot more scary in terms of burst, but Lego My Ego is a lot more scary in terms of mobility. It's going to make it much harder to gank him. That ward will spot out CyrusQ. Amazing will know that his wraiths have been taken, and I just think it's going to go to farming for a little while. That ward goes down in the banana brush from Moop. Dongsquad, hello.
I love TS sometimes, my friends. But, yeah, Volibear's still not even level 6. Syracuse is 6. Moops is 6. That could be a really big wombo combo here into the mid, because you can get off the barrier into the swap into the laser, and that long-range laser is going to outrange any kind of void jumping we get. But Kikis, again, I want to accentuate the difference. Kikis, look at the creeps, Spuddington. Look at the creeps.
Look at the creeps. At what cost? Yeah, 47 now creeps up against 25. He's nearly doubling, and that is not good for Glucose. Glucose is playing Malphite though, so he will be valuable regardless. He will have that attack speed slow, that an AoE knock-up. He's a good initiator, but his damage and tankiness are going to suffer, and there's a high chance that once he's jumped into the middle of the enemy team, he will die. So that's not ideal for him. Jace in turn is going to be getting pretty farmed up, and that's again not good to deal with, something you want to have to deal with. But Pose in that bottom lane is just continuing to be a pain. Has taken quite a bit of harass from that plant there, but just feels at the moment like both teams are just going to farm this out for now. Glucose won't enjoy that, but so long as he doesn't get too horribly destroyed, it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, walking ults are definitely something you can fall back on. The awesomeness of a Zyra bottom is, of course, the pokey plants. You can even poke down your opponents or trap them. You get off the roots, you get the hail of arrows from Varus, and all of a sudden it's really hard to convince yourself that, yeah, you can fight a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-2. But Ceres is going to be in this bottom lane. They might be looking for the Strangle Thorns. We do got the hail of arrows going off. That's going to be the corruption shot. There's the Strangle. Here comes Hecarim with the Nightmares, and that is going to be their double. And that is why you always ban a Hecarim in lower tiers. The range and the gap close and just his overall ability to chase you down after he gets rolling is almost unprecedented.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Hecarim is that normally he has a weak early game, but this game, compared to Amazing, he's had a very, very strong early game. He had a very good performance compared, because Amazing just got ruined at his red buff. CyrusQ is now moving on for that dragon. Kassadin could try and get there. Along with Amazing, the dragon will burn down before they get there. I don't think anything's going to come of this, but they could try for some damage here. They could go aggressive. They are indeed doing so. Ultima has been popped on Amazing. The silence comes down on Fushal. They're going in with the Rift Wall, but Lux is going to be here. The binding misses though, so it's only a 1 kill deficit. The dragon is worth it, but it's not as good as it could have been.
And Varus was just basically caught out of position right there. That's the problem with these gap closers. Look at Lego My Ego. He jumps on top of Moops with that level 6. The rest of the team just comes up. They're trying to do a show of force just to get him off that. And during all of this, Jace does take that top tower. So they got the dragon. They got the top tower. They traded it up for Fu Sharp, who's just basically out of position and options at that point. But still, they come out far and ahead in this early game.
Yeah, they are just dominating at this time. Being said, Lego My Ego is a king playmaker, and he is playing Kassadin, has not been shut down. There is a significant farm difference between Lux and him, but he is going to start threatening her around, forcing her to back away from him. That will equalize the farm, and it will allow him to then make opportunities for him to roam. I think my ego is a little bit low on the health and the mana. I think he's just going to want to go back after this. And that is probably one of his slight weaknesses. His wave clear is pretty early on. Making my ego just going to back out. Lux should be back in. Will not laser the wave, I suspect. Has got that Athene's Unholy Grail. Let's just start trying to farm this out. Kassadin will want to make opportunities to roam, and his team is pretty good for setting him up for it. Glucose can set him up. If, you know, there's a ward or a minion, Glucose ults in, and you get Kassadin teleporting, then Rift walking. There's a lot of potential for it to happen. But for now, not a lot going on, just everyone farming.
So in terms of a few of the items going in and around the place, you know, I just again want to point out top that we haven't seen kills, as I keep an eye here down on Pose. Pose actually going to throw out that box, but Hecarim is there. That's very likely a dead Thresh, but it's going to be the Onslaught of Shadows on top of Suchi. And again, like Saris, he's just able to keep on you. You're Caitlyn, you don't have that movement speed. He does. It's going to be an easy double for this bot lane once more. So not only is the Mouse bot lane going good, the mid, Lego My Ego gets caught out by that binding, the laser. He has himself, thankfully, the catalyst, but here comes Hecarim, and that's very scary to see that Hecarim just charging you. But still, a global pressure, both lanes, and top, like, there's not that much going on in top except farming, and farming is the word. 100 creeps to 55 and the tower. Like, Mouse just dominating all three lanes.
Kick is in mid. He is actually jumping under the tower here. The binding has gone down on Amazing. Amazing is in a lot of trouble. Is just going to get bursted out. Nothing too surprising there. And yeah, it feels like Mouse are just taking a really big early advantage. Like, my ego's hanging around the side. He is going to go in with the damage here. We've got the ultimate from Malphite across the side. Damage on Kickers. Kickers gets bursted out, and that is a good setup. Now are they going to try and chase down CLG.eu? He has popped Ghost. He has popped that charge, and he's just legging it up a million miles an hour. Boops, however, he has no movement speed. He has got that binding relatively shortly, but they're trying to spread out so he can't bind both. And now Pose actually hooks CLG.eu. They could go under the tower here. We've got Lego My Ego putting down the damage, but it's not enough. He does get the shutdown, but it's not going to be a good situation. Piercing Arrow picks up one. Glucose now going to be running here. He has got that flash down, is going to be running. The laser picks him up, and that is a very nice kill. That caught me off guard. That may have been a bit loud.
Yeah, that's right. I'll bill you for my tinnitus. It's all good, sir. 11 to 5 though, 13 minutes in. Like, Mouse almost a kill a minute at this point. 6,000 gold and climbing. Fu sharp with that piercing arrow at the end, able to land. I think that was a triple, no, double for Moops. But still, like, absolute domination. She has that Athene. She's going for a Rabadon's next, but it's just items at 13 minutes in. Like, we can't touch this at this point, and we don't have that AoE setup that we did from game number 1 where Dongsquad could have made that comeback. This round, I'm not entirely too sure how they're going to be able to handle the next few minutes.
It's hard for them right now. They have a team that can't really stall that well, actually. The only real wave clear they've got is that Caitlyn. However, their saving grace right now is Lego My Ego. Kassadin can push side lanes and look for picks. Glucose is actually going to engage here. Mouse Kickers might be able to fight him head on, but if he can bait him out, if Amazing could get top, he doesn't know that Kickers has stayed though, so he's not going to go for it. And now we see Lego My Ego in this mid lane, trading off with Moops actually jumping over the wall. Might head towards that top lane. Kickers is still there. He's just hanging in, and Amazing did not check it, so that's not caught him. He's going to be okay. Got Amazing heading towards the top lane now. I don't know if Malphite spotted him or something, but we do see the bottom lane here in a lot of trouble. Tsuchi and Pose are going to die almost certainly. If they're smart, they will just try and take out the tower. It does look like Tsuchi is doing emergency farming right now, but he is going to die very, very shortly. Pose getting taken down by CLG.eu. Another kill on, on that bot lane. The laser actually comes across, picks that up, and that's a scumbagged kill there by Lux, but it's not looking good. They are constantly getting caught out, and Dongsquad cannot afford to have that happen anymore.
So Dongsquad had a ward in their bottom tribush and then in the blue bottom tribush, but nothing in the river. And that's exactly where that gank came right through the river. Absolutely no coverage. And when you just push that hard, yeah, you're going to be susceptible to those kind of ganks. And again, Hecarim, he can get around town. He has the tier 2 boots, he has Ghost, and of course he does have, movement speed that he can trigger on top of things. It's really hard to get away.
Yeah, so we actually now are seeing CyrusQ potentially getting caught out. He goes in for the re-engage. We've got Kikis in from the side. Amazing. He's going to pop that passive. Malphite on one. Amazing escapes with his life. The laser whiffs, and now Kikis wants that, but it does look like Glucose is going to have to run. Does get rooted. He is very, very tanky, though. Does not have the components. We've got Pose going in now. Has landed the box. Has gone in with the flay, but he just does not have the damage. He is a support Thresh. That's not going to happen. Lego My Ego is hanging around, and it does look like that may have sacrificed his life in return for Glucose. Glucose is getting hit. One more auto attack, picks that up. We've now got the fight, and Lego My Ego gets taken out, and I think does not take out anyone. Does take out Kikis in the process, but it's not a good setup, and that is again a fight that's gone in the favor of Mouse.
And that was 4-on-4. Our ADCs were just kind of lounging in the bottom lane. Mouse, Fu Sharp, actually, was able to do a blue steal during all of that. So that's going to be another blow here to Kaostv. But it was a really good split after that. Like the engages here in this jungle was a little awkward in terms of they couldn't quite get the clumps they were looking for. Like we had Onslaught of Shadows land onto one person. We had the Malphite ult, the Unstoppable Force land onto one person. And, they split, and then Thresh goes in. It's like, I'm sensing conflicting messages right there. When you split and you run away and Thresh goes in as a support, and that kind of forced Lego My Ego to go back in. Thankfully, he was able to trade out, but still, 16-7, and the bottom lanes weren't even there. Like, imagine Varus with his long range was there to make a difference. It would have been a totally different story.
Yeah, because Suchi just isn't even comparable right now to Varus. I mean, Blade of the Ruined King finish versus BF Sword and a Pickaxe. Suchi will shoot for that Infinity Edge in the long run, but I don't think it's going to make much from it. And CyrusQ is hanging around the bottom lane. He may look to get more kills here. They aren't worth much gold. They are worth the full XP, and it's going to stop them farming. Pose is going in. AOD has... He's dead. There we go. Bye-bye. Enjoy your death there, Pose. I always lanterning. What a villain. What scumbaggery. Tsuchi now actually could be getting caught out. Kikis is aware of where he is. He spotted him out with the shot blast. Angry horse to the face. He jumps across into the root. Very nicely played by AOD, and that was not good again there.
Well, that was all Kikis. Like, as soon as they saw Jace looking for Caitlyn, and she was just kind of stuck on the other side of the wall, it was a slow vice coming around, the noose around the neck, so to speak. And again, just Mouse playing extremely on point at this point of the game. The corruption shot is going to go out. Glucose, he does have an unstoppable, but he's going to use the flash instead. I guess he really wants to use it as a last-minute option, but the Stranglethorns did go down. They weren't able to grab a kill, but they're going to get a tower out of it. And the whole Mouse team is here, ready to go, and it's a 5-on-4. Because we just had Suchi spawn, the Glucose has to go and heal, and the counterattack is just not going to be there from Dong.
Yeah, it's just looking at the moment like they're waiting to die. Suchi does not have the damage. Popping the ultimate, it's not going to do very much. But the binding going across, we got the poke going across. Opt barrier was afraid of the burst. Hose went in, box went in. Unstoppable Force on 3. We've actually got the hook going down on Fu Sharp. Fu Sharp out of position. Amazing now in the middle. CyrusQ going to be taking some damage, and they are actually coming out ahead in this fight. Lego My Ego. Oh, that laser, that was meaty, and that means that the fight could turn against them. Lego My Ego will pick up the kill on Lux, though, and that was actually a trade in the favor of Dongsquad. 3 for 2.
Mouse just overstayed their welcome, essentially. Like they got what they wanted, and then they knew that they should have known that Caitlyn was about to respawn and Glucose was about to come back full health. So yeah, they should have kind of made a hasty exit a bit earlier than that. So Dong, they'll take it at this point. 3 for 2. It's a little bit extra cash in their pocket. Kikis is going to be in some trouble, however.
Yeah, he could get caught quite badly here. Tsuchi hanging around the edge. There's just too much risk for Tsuchi to really do anything, and I don't know if Lego My Ego can get there in time. That was a really good guess out of Kikis as to where Tsuchi could be. That shot blast would have killed. It was only slightly off as well. So, free kill there again, and we do actually now see AOD setting up that barren area, clearing it out with that ward. Got that Oracle is going to be putting down some vision. Doubt they'll go for it immediately, though. They obviously are down a man, which would be a bit of an interesting decision to make, although we did see them go for that last game. That time, though, they had that Elise, who was just incredibly good at tanking it. Still, everyone is just going to kind of go back to farming, and you got to say right now, there might be a throw from Mouse, but it's not looking likely.
At this point, I don't see it. 20-11, but yeah, if they keep overextending like that, then it will eventually start adding up, and then all of a sudden we could be in a very different situation. If the positioning was better from Mouse, while the whole chase going down with Jace, they might have been able to take the Baron because there's absolutely no presence in that area. But as it was happening, you know, they were kind of split. Varus was pushing top, Hecarim was jungling, and AOD was just wandering around with that Oracle, just clearing out wards. And if a similar situation happens now, they could be in a good spot to get a free Baron, but I don't think that's really on their mind at this point.
Yeah, and actually we've got the combo coming across. Lego Maigo putting down some damage on Moops. The ultimate coming in as well. They've got the damage on it. Stranglethorns goes down, cutting off Tsuchi and Amazing. They've got the damage from Fushop. Fushop is not getting focused out here. Lego Maigo will have to jump out any second now, but he will get caught out by AOD, actually escaping with the flash. We've got the Caitlyn peeled over Peacemaker taking out some damage, but they are going to be forced out of this fight. AOD putting on a little bit of a show, but I don't think he can really stop Lego Maigo from putting damage in return, and in fact, he isn't achieving much as a result of it. Yeah, I'm messing my words up because I see things that are about to happen and then just sort of don't. That root did not land on Lego Maigo there. So it looks like they're just going to back out here. Fusharp continuing to clear this wave, but I expect he'll just go back after this. And you've got to say at the moment, though, in spite of the fact it's nearly a 10k goal difference, Dongsquad are doing a surprisingly good job in these fights.
They're picking their battles extremely well at this point, and that was also a lot of AoE that they were able to deploy. The box went out, we had the unstoppable force, Lego Maigo with the rift walk, he of course has his cone damage, and then Tsuchi, you know, he did pick up the Infinity Edge just before that fight, so his damage output is, you know, almost, well, I don't want to say doubled, but you know, it's gone up an exponential amount at this point because he all of a sudden can get all those extra damage. All those extra crits are now starting to add up with the headshots. So he was in the back, really good positioning there. Unfortunately, no kills for Tsuchi quite yet. And again, like you looking at the Varus versus the Caitlyn a bit earlier, Varus undoubtedly is almost 2,000 gold ahead. You know, still no kill for Caitlyn, but it was a really good position picked out there from Dong, and we saw this game number one. They had a few fights where they could actually, you know, make a good exchange. We're just gonna have to depend on continuing to do it in order to climb back out of this deficit.
Yeah, and you've got to say a lot of their hopes are pinned on Lego Maigo. He is 7 kills for 3. He is a very significant damage threat, and Caitlyn is starting to get to that point too. Malphite, Volibear, Thresh, they're all very useful in spite of being massively behind, so they do still have the tools to make things happen. They just don't want to let themselves get caught out, as has been happening throughout the laning phase here. Look at my ego shoving in that mid lane, will then back out, just playing a cautious game at the moment. Neither side really wants to get picked off, because that could mean the end for Dongsquad or the turnaround for against Mouse. That could be bad for them, and we are seeing the very good guesses out of Kikis, but just going very slightly awry there. But Poe's taking a bit of damage, nothing too much going on there.
Now, once again, you know, we did have the tiers come out for Jace, and 23-minute mark. I'm not entirely too sure when he actually made that into a mirror mana. He at the 20-minute mark, Jace is able to make that into a mirror mana. So his damage output with that armor penetration and the cooldown boots, like, it's through the roof at this point. That's why he's 6, 4, and 3. If they can keep trading out the Jace and the Varus, like, the damage will start shifting more towards Dong. But again, as long as they're smart about their engages and they can keep trading almost equally or a bit better, then they will be able to start climbing out of the deficit. The problem is, like, Mouse is renowned for not letting them do that.
And now Glucose actually getting bound. The laser misses, and we've got the Ghost. We've got the ultimate in from Glucose. Glucose is going ham. We've got Fusharp getting pulled out of position by Amazing. This initiate is working out fairly well for them. Tsuchi going to be getting Fusharp's kill with the ultimate. The Stranglethorn goes across. Lego Maigo is still alive. He's putting down damage on AOD. We've got the backline going to be in a lot of trouble. Moops does not have the damage out of in a sustained situation. Tsuchi goes very low, but CyrusQ chooses not to capitalize. Lego Maigo is going to be trying to play cleanup here. Going to be trying to pick that up, but actually gets caught, gets killed. Triple kill on Lux. That's going to be a good style for her, but I don't think she's got the damage to take anyone else out. The laser comes up in another 5 seconds though, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her go for a snipe. If not, she's going to go for this push. And again, in spite of the goal difference, close calls. The laser whiffs, and it does look like everyone's just going to back off and heal again.
So again, the high priority targets, Jace, Varus, and that's exactly what the Unstoppable Force hit. It hit both Jace and Varus. Volibear went so hard on top of Sharp that he was almost like, if he had his flash up, I'm fairly sure he would have used it. Unfortunately, he didn't, but the barrier, and he just absolutely got zoned right out of the fight, went down to the ace in the hole anyways, and then Volibear was able to turn his attention with Malphite on top of Varus. And as you see, it wasn't that bad a trade by the end of it. The problem now, however, is that Moops, after you take down 2 sources of damage, Moops is the next biggest one. She got a triple kill out of that. So you can't be so happy about that. But still, they're picking their engages. They're the ones doing the engaging as well. And that's always what you want to be doing when you are behind. That way, it's your territory, it's your turf, it's your terms. So yeah, I'm not going to say it's over quite yet for Dong if they can keep doing this. But yeah, as soon as Mouse decides on an initiation for them or they catch someone, then Dong is just going to start sliding right back down.
Yeah, we've actually got apparently a phone call, which is a little bit strange. Pause has come in, and I've got to say, the pause is actually going to unpause for it relatively quickly. This is one of the slight weaknesses that Mouse have. They are actually unable to initiate fights themselves without Hecarim, and Hecarim is, he's tanky, but he's not like can tank your whole team tanky. He's if he goes too far ahead of his team as well, they aren't going to be able to follow up too soon, so their initiation is very weak. And they're up against a team with a very strong initiation, which seems at the moment not to be having any problems due to AOD's counter-initiate. The Stranglethorns just isn't enough to break them up. That is causing them a lot of problems. If they can catch someone, though, as you say, that's going to be easy money, and that will obviously signify tower pushes as soon as they take out anyone. Lego My Ego in particular, though, he is very, 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 very scary. Will be going aggressive here? No, he's not. He's actually just playing carefully. Could go for this, though. This fight could happen at any point, so it's looking very, very iffy. A hook could come down. We could get a Chain of Corruption. Could get the roots from Zyra. Any of these things. Unstoppable Force. All of these options. If Laser comes across, that's going to be helping them to poke and push. At the same time, the mid tower going to be pressured out. Does look like they're going to continue forward. Lego My Ego clearing bot. They know he's there. Surely they will get aggressive here or look for that rotation to go and take advantage somewhere else. Fusharp is visible. Got Lego My Ego warding out that blue buff. He actually sees Cyrus.eu. He is going to back out. Oh, this is so dicey at the moment it's just for, oh yeah, you said not to call you for. But anyway, amazing going in. Cyrus.eu in a bit of trouble. Stranglethorn goes across too. This time it may be Mouse on the advantage here. Glucose is going to be jumping on the back line, but he doesn't hit Fusharp. Fusharp is putting down the damage he wants to. Cyrus.eu this time doing a good job too. Lego My Ego is fine, but Suchi is only alive thanks to Flash, and that is not a good trade there for Dongsquad. They are still alive, and if they can distract for long enough here, that might actually get their bruisers back up. No, we've got Moops going for it. It does look like Mouse are just going to push. They're taking quite a lot of poke, though. Cyrus.eu getting low. He does have that innate sustain, and you got to wonder who's going to be the one taking an advantage here. Are Mouse going to be able to push this tower down forecourt?
Well, how many home guards do we have? We have one, and it's on Kassadin. So, he's basically the only person able to defend. Everyone else is back in that fountain at this point. And as soon as we saw Mouse engage, yeah, they were able to get the better of the exchanges. They're able to take the tower on top of things as well. And very soon, that's good. That's now a naked inhibitor. But if you looked at Malphite, yeah, he wanted to get that Unstoppable Force on top of Fusharp. Fortunately, did not land. Gets taken out by Fusharp instead. But Volibear is doing an excellent job of just sticking on top of Jace. And between Jace, Death, and Varus just kind of being away from most of that fight, it was not as bad as it could have been for Dongsquad, but they really do need to choose their initiations, and fighting in the jungle I don't think is going to be their best spots because of the Hecarim ult and because of the Stranglethorns.
Yeah, as you say, they were cut off very, very badly there, and we did see Lux taking a lot of damage out on Kassadin just to kind of ward him off that dragon, which they were at that point taking. So that's a very, very large goal difference, and it's only increased in size. Proportionally, it might be a little bit lower than before they were winning these fights, but Maus are definitely a long way ahead, and Suchi actually dicing with Death, going to avoid the binding, going to avoid the Lucent Singularity, Haha, I've wasted your cooldowns or mana, which are all back up. We got the initiate! Glucose going in with the hook over the wall. Fushop in a lot of trouble. Tsuchi putting down the damage. We got the teleport in. Cassidy will be here soon. Glucose has been knocked up. Is going to be blown up. Liga My Ego goes for Fushop. He doesn't quite have the damage though. He's got the Seraph's Embrace. It's not going to be enough to keep him up for long. And Tsuchi has killed, but I think it's a vain hope. AOD picks him up with the root, and that is the setup they needed. Surely this could be at least an inhib, if not the end. They have a very tanky Cyrus Q who could just go for that Nexus.
Engaging without Lego My Ego, I mean, not exactly the best of ideas, as you saw. He came so late. He was able to massively just burst down Sharp as the surrender vote goes off, but unfortunately Sharp popped the barrier and then he just kind of got insta-gibbed after that. So engaging without the guy that's doing most of your damage, not the best of ideas. And as you saw, Mousesports 2-0. Good job to them.
Yeah, very, very close in the end. It was one of those things where Mouse was way ahead for such a long time, and then they kind of somehow, I don't know, they lost several fights in a row, and it looked like it could come back. In the end, though, didn't happen. Dongsquad have been knocked out in the semi-finals. Mouse advance to the finals, where they will face off against Heimerdinger's Colossi, who are in, their 4th or 5th finals in a row now. Incredibly strong team, and that should be a doozy to watch. We've got a best of 5 coming up tomorrow. That's it for today, though. That is the last game of this day. Yes, indeed it is, and with that, I think we will be moving into some reruns. Please do join us tomorrow. Social media. Yeah, you can follow the channel. You can follow Kaostv on Twitter, which is @Kaostv. You can follow me, which is @Spuddington. Facebook.com/SpuddingtonCasts as well. Forecourt, I believe your Twitter is, what is it actually?
Everywhere you go, it says Forecourt Jester. The Twitch, the Twitter, the YouTube, the Facebook, the Google Plus. Everything is Forecourt Jester. And yeah, thanks for having me around here, guys, today. It was awesome, Spud. Didn't get to see Stress, but of course he is a little bit AFK. But hey, got to cast with you guys. Another thing off my bucket list. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, no problem. You may well come back again in the future. We will be seeing. I don't want to make any promises, but you have done a pretty sterling job today. Anyway, hopefully Metas will recover from his food poisoning in the future. We only saw one game from him, but he is also around and was here earlier. So we will, pop him up in the chat in just a second. Should be moving to reruns relatively quickly. We will see you in the future, I think.